What's up, everyone? Joey Baby here. Very recently, March 20th, 2022 to be exact, a brand new level up was found for this game for Metropolis Act 1, which is probably one of the most biggest time saves in recent memory. Potentially can save upwards to 12 to 13 seconds compared to what people were getting in runs previously. Usually 40 seconds was like the very optimal time you'd want. Can get down to 27, potentially more with more optimization, as this is still a new trick. So yeah, hopefully this tutorial will help folks who wants to implement this to their game. So let's get started. So basically, the main goal you want is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, try one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, what exactly happened there? Um, so there's a lot to cover here, but hopefully things will make sense once we break it down. So what happened just there? Let's start small. So there's a little quirk in this piston here, where if you stand on the very left edge of it, it rises you up. While normally it should crush you in normal circumstances, but you can stand here and it barely doesn't kill you. You rise up. So and another thing about this game, for Metropolis specifically, if you hold down the screen and I jump, something weird happens. You see, there's this vertical screen wrap that happens, and then the camera comes back into place. So this is the only level in Sonic 2 where the level vertically wraps infinitely. So essentially, if you're falling on a path infinitely vertically, you just kind of go from the bottom of the screen back to the top, and it just continuously goes. Uh, you're just in a continuous downwards trajectory. But a quirk with that is if you touch the top of the screen, the game gets confused where you're positioned, and it wraps one time vertically. Nothing happens to Sonic, but something interesting happens with objects. So this piston on the right is an object. When the screen wrap, or if objects are not on screen, they get deloaded. And when they're deloaded, and if Sonic is standing on a deloaded object, it gives him a weird property where he can clip into the floor and clip through walls and use that to get tremendous amount of zip speed by zipping into the floor, using that speed to trigger a wrap by going through the left boundary quick enough for the game to overflow Sonic's X coordinate position, and it'll get him into the right side of the stage. So that's the goal you want. So basically, how do we do this? So if you look at the piston here, it goes up and down in a very set timing pattern, specifically 1.5 seconds. So the general idea here is you want to walk towards the piston and jump towards it as soon as just about to rise, just like so. And then if you do it just right, you will get the slope glitch property out of the screen wrap, and you can use this to go downwards and get through the beginning to the level and get your level wrap. So now the question becomes, how do you even get this level wrap? What do you even do here? How does one time this level wrap to work, or get the slope glitch in the first place? So there is like a very simple way to do it. You could just count it, but there's a more easy way to pull this off. So like I said, it's a 1.5 second interval. What I do is I start making Sonic walk to the right 1.25 seconds into it. So I'll have a counting measure to know when I should hold right for and when should I jump. But clearly there has to be a better way, and there is. There's no visual cue with this state here, but we have another option. So we have Tails. A really weird quirk about this position here for Tails. Um, if you look at Tails's Tails, you can see how every time the piston goes up and down, Tails's animation gets reset. The flow of his animation just interrupts and it starts a new cycle. So you can use this as a way to know how long the piston has been down towards her, and this will help us a lot. So on the feed here, you can see a screenshot on the bottom left. That's a decently good visual cue on when you want to start holding right. Let me explain the text on the right here, on the left. It goes from frames 1 through 8, and that means is the amount of frames tails are in for each sprite. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 frames, the tails has been in the same position, and if I advance on the next frame, it goes to the next frame. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get the picture. So you can use Tails' animation to tell a good measurement of time has passed since the platform of the piston has went down. So I'll show this in practice. So you see the Tails has reset its cycle. And I'm going to frame advance here. So you're going to see after this sprite finishes its animation, is going to change towards this sprite, which is exactly the sprite that the bottom left image is showing. Now, like I said, there are 8 frames of this, and depending on what frame you catch, the amount you have to hold right for before you jump varies. So let's use this as an example. So frame 1, hold right between 14 to 16 frames. So I'm going to do this in frame advance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And if I full jump while still holding right, I will land on the piston without getting crushed, and the screen wrap triggers. One thing to note, don't use this. Don't use these frame windows as gospel. Depending on subpixels, these numbers can change very minorly. So, for example, 14 to 16 right frame jump can be a 13 to a 17, or 13 to 16, or 14 to a 17. It slightly varies. But what I want to get away with this is that the general windows are still the same. It just varies very slightly. So use that knowledge to your advantage, and this trick will be beneficial to you. So now, how can you tell what the frame is? How can you tell what frame of Tails' animation is correct? Now, unfortunately, there isn't a very easy way to tell. Another option is the pause buffer. So I pause buffer. This could be frame 2 or frame 3 or frame 4. Who knows? But a good thing to note is a pattern that some of these frames has. So I want to set your attention to frames 2 and 5. Generally, frames 10, 11, and 12 generally works for all 4 of those frames, or frames 2 to 5. So if you have a frame window where you can assume that it's either frame 2, frame 3, or frame 4, whatever, you can just make an assumption that, well, I may not know what frame Tails' animation's on, but if I hold right for 10 frames, I have an extremely high chance of getting it anyways, because the windows are pretty identical, albeit slightly different. So a good tip to go about is when you hold right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and look at Sonic's animation, 10. On the 10th frame, that's the visual cue when Sonic's legs are more spread out. So there's a very easy way to tell when Sonic is on his 10th left hold. So you can use this to know if this is frame 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, Sonic's legs are spread out. So this is easily 10 frames or more, and you have a good chance of getting it. Now in frame 2, the 11th frame works, but like I said, there's different variables. So you just have to work with what you got. So frame 10 would be, this could be frame 11 or frame 12 right hold. If I jump, it works this time. So using that knowledge, you can just have a general window you want to look for and just work around that. So this is frame 3. Just to make it more easier, for slot 51, this is frame 1, 2, frame 2, 3, frame 3, just so you know what I'm working with here. So if you glance at it again, you can tell that frames 7 and 8 have no function. It's just way too late to get anything. So you want to prevent being really late on those frames, as there's no benefit from them. As well as I want to pay your attention to frame 1. Albeit there are frames that work, the windows are much smaller than frames that work on frames 2, 3, 4, and 5. Frame 6 also works, but the window is also small again. So what you're really trying to aim for is a window where you get between frames 2 to 5 on this frame. Get a frame where Sonic's legs are spread out, and you have a really high chance of getting this level wrap. Well, the screen wrap to get the slope glitch. So after you get the slope glitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also you can count if you want to have a good idea on when to time your pause here. If you prefer the pause, of course. And then you can get a pause when he's spreading his legs, full jump while still holding right, and you get the wrap upwards. So what now? So we got our screen wrap, and we got the slope glitch that's about to trigger once this piston is off screen. So what do we do next? So right below where the piston's located, you see this backwards V. There's like a V right below the piston's locations. It's like a couple blocks down. Once that top V touches the top of the screen, the object has already deloaded, so you just hold left from here. And that's when you can just walk left, and you will walk backwards to with your slope glitch. So you want to keep holding left until you get to this point here, where you see a good amount of background on the left. Once the wall has been out of the left side of the screen, you want to full jump, and you land here. You bypass the door from above, and you come over here. So from here, you want to land down here and full jump, and land on the furthest possible part of this slope here. With this slope, you want to start holding down to roll, and you want to jump within this frame here. It's not a frame perfect, it's a small window here. It's just on top of, you can use any visual cue here. What I use is, there's like these lines on the bottom of the slope, and if I jump within this range here, you get clipped here. And from here, you want to hold right to zip left within a 2-frame window. This is first frame. You full jump, you get the level wrap. There's another frame that can work here. If you jump more closer over here, full jump, you get your level wrap. So it's a pretty decent window, better than 1 frame. And once you get this frame, just full jump and be neutral. And once the wrap triggers, what you can do here is you can hold right the whole way until you get to a point during the wraparound, until you see a bit of floor coming in during this wide open space. So you see this this wall has appeared on the right side. Switch to left, and you'll trigger the signpost as soon as it comes in. So yeah, there's a lot to it. This is something that's going to take some practice to get a really good hand on. But this is something that would be incredibly useful. Also, there's another way to do the ending section here. If you don't end up holding any direction, Sonic is clipped inside of a wall. So you can just be neutral until the screen gets to a point where the level's flat. Like, you're essentially at the end. And if you hold right from here, you just trigger the signpost by holding right. And as long as you zip back to the left, well, holding left to zip back to the right, the Act 1 clear jingle will trigger, and you get to the end. So yeah, hope that helps. And yes, this will take some practice, but I believe that this is very doable in runs, and for some people, this could be a 10, 20, potentially 30-second time save if you get this down. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, and hope this has been helpful.